Hey Tom,
What's up, Dave?
do you hear what happened when Harry Kane got rugby tackled in the box?
No idea.
Nothing. I love football. Football is absolutely amazing. Welcome to the Armchair Fancast. Does Russia 2018 and England won? We're recording this literally about half an hour after the game finished. We've just been down the pub, down the road, watching it, and my God, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What a mess.
Probably, I was just saying on the way back, probably my best experience as an England fan in at least a decade. Yours ever?
Mine's ever, yeah. I have very little to compete from it. Remembering the first being 2002, everything else has been pretty shocking since then.
Imagine that being your earliest memory. You don't have any 96, 98. No. It's horrendous. Alex Dugan is here, obviously. Yeah. Just sum up what it felt like when Harry Kane scored the winner. Utter
elation. I was actually nearly... I was almost touching the roof, and that's thanks to this gentleman over here.
Yes, Tom Crosby
very graciously picked me up on his shoulders just as England scored that second goal. Yes. How did that feel?
Well, today, as you saw the game, it's a game of very much where you got to take your opportunity. So when England scored, Dugan climbed on the chair. Yeah. I saw the gap and I thought, take your chance. Don't be Jesse Lingard. Don't be Raheem Sterling. Go for it. I've gone to get him on my shoulders. Thought he's only about 5'6". He must only weigh about £100.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was mistaken.
Yeah, they were those two guys in the pub who over-celebrate when something happens, and then what happens? So Tom puts down Alex and says to me, "Oh, I didn't realise he's that heavy." So how's your spinal cord? All right?
I might be off work tomorrow, so if anyone's watching.
Now I should say, as well as a very raucous celebration when we scored the winning goal there, Dugan here did us the honour of documenting my reactions throughout the game. I'm the worst kind of England fan. I nervously pace up and down literally all day before a game, and then when I get into the pub and I'm at the table, you can see, we'll put up some of the shots here. This is me, I guess right at the start, looking incredibly nervous. This is me when we scored the opening goal, and then here's when there was the penalty decision, which we will talk about in some depth in just a minute.
I think you're the type of England fan, which is the reason why England, like, are not so confident as a team itself. No. You're so cocksure before the tournament and that sort of thing, so upbeat. And as soon as we get to the pub, Dave, you're like a hermit crab.
I know, I can't.
You just go into your shower and you don't talk.
I can't function when England are playing. But here, happy ending. Here's the final picture. This is me outside the pub immediately after the result, about half an hour ago, looking the happiest I've ever been.
And if you want to follow the future ventures of Dave in the pub watching England football, you need to follow the hashtag #DocumentDave, and that will, which one of us is watching the game with Dave, we'll take some photos of him as the various emotional stages of the game unfold, and you'll be able to follow him through his mental process.
I can see this becoming the #1 worldwide trend on Twitter throughout the World Cup. Dan's not here. Dan, who was with us on episode 1, is often with us on the podcast. He's in Cannes in the south of France.
Fancy.
And he's been watching from a bar, and then he sent us a picture. Look at this picture. This was taken just before kickoff. Turns out he's in a bar with Sam Allardyce. Big Sam, the man who could have been king at this time. And it looks like he's doing karaoke, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, he's not going to be doing karaoke or in a chip shop.
No. We were saying earlier, I wonder, in Sam Allardyce's case, I wonder whether, if you were Sam Allardyce, would you want England to lose?
I think he's still very bitter about the job and thinks that he could do a better job. So I think he's secretly saying, I hope they get a shoe-in from the Tunisians.
Yeah. Well, we didn't, Sam. Yeah, go back to your pint of wine. Anyway, here's what's coming up on today's show.
We look at the positives and the negatives of England's performance against Tunisia.
We review the reviewers as we ask if VAR is working at the World Cup.
Plus another spectacular World Cup quiz, Predict-O-Pup is back, and much, much more as well, all coming up on today's Armchair Fancast. So, a busy and quite possibly jubilant episode ahead of Armchair Fancast, and as always, we are going to start things out with the goal mouth scramble. We are going to talk about 5 of the hottest topics in the football world right now. 4 of them are going to be England, because England are the talk of the football world right now. Gentlemen, are you ready for today's Goalmouth Scramble?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Here comes the whistle. I think you can guess where we're going to start. England victorious over Tunisia just a little while ago as we're recording this. We're going to talk about the positives and negatives. So let's start with the good. The good, obviously, is that we won the match. But what else? What can we take in terms of our performance that was very positive about the way England played, Dugan?
Harry Kane takes the chances that are crucial to a match, I think we can say. I think he didn't have many chances throughout the game. They fell largely to the plethora of players who were behind him. But when Kane had that crucial opportunity, both that when he scored in the first half and in that last pressure moment in the last 2 minutes of the game, he capitalised, he made his impact felt, and that makes us sit there and think we have a substantial centre forward who, when it comes to the crunch, will score those goals for us, and that's something we haven't felt for a significant amount of time as an England team.
I think the first half, Tom, right, in particular, England were very good going forwards. I think it's fair to say, obviously, the final product was lacking sometimes. We wasted a lot of opportunities, but there was a lot of movement. It was very fast paced. Jesse Lingard seemed to be involved in just about every single move that we made. At half time, despite the fact that we conceded the penalty and it was 1-1, there were plenty of reasons to be cheerful, right?
I mean, I think I was initially slightly nervous about Southgate's selection by just having one central midfield player and playing Ali and Lingard, but they seemed to justify it because Lingard, as you said, was absolutely everywhere. He was like a little fly. So, I mean, again, I was sceptical about him even going to the World Cup in the first place, but I think that he could be a key player for us. I think he was really sharp to latch onto that through ball. I know he hit the post, but I mean, to have players that are switched on, as Kane, as you were saying, I think that it looks bright.
Now, the second half, I think, was a little bit down. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what's good about the second half, I think, a couple of things, right? So first of all, you've got to say that England were being attacked. Essentially, there was obviously the Tunisian plan was to hit them with their elbows, try and get under their skin with lots of little fouls, a lot of which the referee didn't pick up on, right? And actually, it's to England's credit, I think, that they didn't lose their composure. If we could have had a petulant streak there, we could have lost a player to a red card if someone reacted.
Well, there wasn't the booking in the game, right? The England players managed to hold themselves within the boundaries of what the referee saw was appropriate.
Well, Kyle Walker got booked for the penalty.
He booked for the penalty, but that's to be expected. Outside of that, in normal play, and they held themselves to a standard that was appropriate for the game. If the referee's going to be that bit more lenient, then you can add that little extra bit in, but still be within not giving an advantage to the other team. So they played well within the confines of that thing. But also, they created chances. I mean, this is something we haven't seen from an England team for a while. Throughout the qualification period, yes, we scored some goals, yes, we had comfortable games, but against a tough opposition, which Tunisia undoubtedly were for large parts of that game, we managed to create chances. Yes, we didn't quite convert them all, but that stream of creativity is there. It just takes that little extra bit to go forward, which I'd much rather be in a position where we're creating the chances versus having 2 or 3 a game where we should have put them away.
Tom, what do you think? Do you think, in terms of England's second half performance, the positives from it, obviously they maintain their composure, like we just talked about. The other thing is, there was a certain resilience to England's performance in terms of not giving up. The pace did slow somewhat, but it was obvious that England were the attacking team. We spent most of the second half camped in there. In the opposition final third. There was no sign of England's heads going down after we conceded the penalty. Well,
I think there's always going to be a spat in the game where Tunisia get a hold of the possession, that sort of thing. The first 10 minutes, Tunisia actually looked quite slick with the ball, but I mean, they didn't have one shot on target other than the penalty, I don't think. So, I mean, the back three, that shape looked good. And I think the most positive aspect of the whole thing is the subs that we have, that we're able to bring the likes of Rashford and Loftus-Cheek on, whereas other teams may necessarily struggle and not have someone of that.
Actually, Rashford's a positive in itself, I think, because Rashford, we're at a time when it did feel like we slowed the pace somewhat. Rashford definitely injected a bit of urgency in there.
But I think Rashford's really the only player that attacks defenders and tries to do like a jink or drop the shoulder and go around them, whereas Sterling's more running onto the ball, Lingard's more fast feet and that sort of thing. So Rashford's the only real player that scares people.
Rashford's first choice is to go at the goal. Everyone else plays, they're looking to square up, they're looking to offload the ball. Rashford's first look is, can I get some kind of attacking threat going forward at the goal? If I can, yes. And it may be like 2 or 3 times out of 10 he gets tackled. But fine, he makes that initial attempt. whereas other players, which is why Rashford is useful coming off the bench as averse to starting. Because if you reverse it round, let's say you have Rashford starting and then Sterling comes off the bench. If your initial thing isn't working and Sterling comes off the bench, he does not provide you that incisive nature that you look for a sub to bring you. He does not provide that massive game-creating difference that Rashford provides you instead. Which is why Rashford's coming off the bench. And to have Loftus-Cheek and Rashford coming off the bench, two impact players, is only a positive for this England team going forward.
All right, whistle's gone, so we'll stop there. We're going to be back in just a second and we will talk about the negatives from England's performance. All right, let's talk about what negatives there were in England's performance against Tunisia. We don't want to dwell on this too much because a win's a win. But as we were talking about with the positives, in the second half, the pace definitely did drop a little bit. Now, one of the things that you heard the commentator saying, it's been very hot in Volgograd today,
Yep.
And maybe it was, there was a bit of fatigue setting in. I'm sceptical about that reason because we saw this in both the warm-up games. We see it with England all the time. The danger, the worry was, and the reason it was such a relief in many ways that when we scored the winner was that it was very Englandy for parts of the second half in terms of the speed of the game.
Then again, if you're trying to play a high press, high tempo game, I think the temperatures it's going to affect that. So I don't buy that.
So, but they needed to relax for a period. But the problem was that they relaxed essentially from 5 minutes after half time through to about 70 minutes until they brought the subs on.
Well, you can't relax at 1-1.
No, exactly, but that's not acceptable. If they're going to put their foot off the pace, they brought their foot off the pace for a good 25 minutes. Yeah. And that's not good enough in the second half where you're not in front. You haven't cemented your lead. You have no right to sit back. You should push forward in those next 25 minutes, build your 2-3 goal lead, and then you can relax. Then you can take your foot off the gas, and you can sit there and play the kind of football that we saw from 45 to 65 minutes.
I mean, Tom, if you're not buying my reasoning on it, right, then what is it? Because if the reason I say that I'm sceptical about this weather excuse, I'm sure it contributes to it, but we see England do this a lot, right? We see England do this in England when it wasn't a particularly hot day. We see them do it in winter as well as in the summer. There's so often where we have a very Jekyll and Hyde performance with England, first half, second half. Fortunately, it turned out all right today, but there was an element of that again. I
mean, there's inevitably going to be like periods where the team's like not on top and able to influence that. I think it's important in a 90 minutes game to, when the temperature's so hot, to draw back and then let the team come at you, let Tunisia expel their energy and then hit them on the break. But I think the unfortunate thing for us, as if we were going to sit back for 10 minutes and then go at them, the thing that we saw was that Tunisia kept bringing defensive players on to like sort of reinforce their shape and that sort of thing. So the plan sort of backfired that way. And like you said, when Rashford did come on, then that sort of was a game changer for us.
With Harry Kane, you talked about Harry Kane being a positive, right?
Yeah.
One thing I would say about Kane, and I'm not sure if this is a negative or not, actually, but I'm interested to hear you guys' take on it. But one thing I noticed about him was there was quite a lot of time when he was dropping quite deep. So Harry Kane was getting involved in the tackling and trying to win the ball in midfield, which is good in the sense that it shows he's not lazy, or he's trying to track back, trying to be a captain, trying to get involved. But in the position we're playing him in this system, should that be his job?
No, he shouldn't need to come back that far. That job should be being done by Henderson. That job should be being done by Lingard, by the other players over there in that centre midfield, by Dele Alli. They should be the ones who are going into that midfield gap and stretching, taking hold of the play, and then expanding further forward. The problem is when Kane comes back, it means that Dele Alli or Lingard replaces him in that kind of forward hole. And then you don't have that same physical presence. Neither of them can compete in the air like Kane can. Neither of them have the kind of aura amongst the defenders that Kane has a spell over them. So Kane coming back, yes, it solves one problem in that it's able to give a stable midfield base to go forward, which Henderson can't provide because he's too far back. But it doesn't allow that platform for England to expand going further forward because there's no focal point for them to try and hit up next to 10, 15 yards further forward. It's
not like that we're playing like the England of old where we're playing a 4-4-2 rigid system where we're just pumping up to the Emil Heskey and he's nodding it down. I think in modern football, the forward line is a lot more interchangeable. So for Kane to drop back and do a bit more of the running, a bit more of the graft, it gives him a chance to do those sort of late runs into the box where he can get onto, rather than if he's just static up top, then he's just got players surrounding him. It's very hard for him to escape.
That is true. But when Kane dropped back, we weren't creating things. We weren't being able to turn that from that kind of 2/3 space into that final third in the kind of pace that was delivered in the first half. And that first half, Kane dropped back very rarely. And then in the second half, when he started to come back more, we kind of drew ourselves together a bit and like became a bit more solidified and not that free-flowing football that we saw in the first half.
Well, I think... Oh, sorry.
Just quickly, we're going to run out of time on the segment in a second, but what about Southgate's performance tactically? Do you think, first of all, was it the right system to be playing from the get-go? Not the back five. We'll take as a given that we're playing a back three and wing backs, but in terms of having the one central midfielder and then the three behind Kane, like we see how we seem to set up today, was that the right decision? And then when things didn't quite go our way in the middle of the game, were we quick enough to make subs? Could we have changed the shape? What do you think of how Southgate managed the game?
I think tactically he did quite well, apart from I think we need more balance in terms of Rose on the left. I think one of the times that Kane did drop back and got the ball out wide, Young went to whip a ball across with his left foot and clearly he wasn't up to the job and that sort of thing. His subs and that sort of thing, Loftus-Cheek and Rashford, it's more in terms of personnel rather than formation. Again, I think this modern system that we're trying to play is not really set up on having like a solid like 3-5-2. It's more players just dropping in and there.
What do you think, Dugan? How was Southgate? How do you rate his performance? Give me a score out of 10.
I think it was generally fine, like 7 or 7.5 out of 10. I think he could have impressed on the players more for like towards the start of the second half or later towards the first of what they should be doing. I think that we should have taken more chances. I think that comes down to a training element of, like, for example, Sterling. For example, if Sterling can't, we're going to talk about this in a second, but if those chances go you miss, then there's something to be said about how they're being managed in the training setup going forward. But I think generally formation was fine. I think that the impact subs he brought on were the right ones. There's not much that he did wrong in that game, I don't think.
All right, well, let's stop talking about the system. Up next, we're going to talk about individual players who we think needs to stay and needs to go in terms of personnel. All right, let's talk about the performance of individual players on the England team against Tunisia in our opening World Cup game. Again, we don't want to dwell on the negatives, but that's what we need to talk about, what needs to change, right? We've talked about who played particularly well. Which players, if any, do you think have harmed their case for being included against Panama?
Sterling, Maguire. Those are the two ones that I would focus on. I think other players may not have had their best game, but it was largely ineffectual. Sterling cannot put a ball in the fucking goal. There is so much that he misses, and he has not got that composure in the penalty area to be able to deserve to be in that position. If you had Rashford in that position, we've spoken about before how Rashford is useful coming off the bench as that impact player versus what Sterling provides. But if Sterling can't put something in the goal when he's got such a clear-cut chance in the penalty area, then he doesn't deserve to be in the team. That's firstly. And secondly, Maguire. Like, match of the day, I've been raving about how Maguire had a great game. No, he was a defensive liability for England in the first half. His passing was poor. His positioning was poor. He gave away chances towards that Tunisia team, which should not have been there.
Why is it nonsense?
Well, he didn't give them a clear chance. He did one shoddy pass back to Pickford.
One-on-one.
He did a couple. Even Stones was playing shoddy pass at the start. I mean, they all were very nervous when the game started. He did bring the ball out a lot in the second half and was perhaps getting into like attacking positions that he probably shouldn't have. I think it's very harsh on the base of one shoddy pass back to Pickford. They say he's had a bad game.
I don't know if it was one. He looked very nervous on the ball. I think there were quite a few times where there was the one obvious pass that you're talking about, but there were a few times where he lost the ball cheaply. He won it back. You know, it wasn't awful.
He didn't look under control. That's the problem.
That's right.
He did not look at ease on the pitch. And if you're playing Maguire as someone, yes, they played for Leicester. Yes, they've gone through those things. But you look who you have in the rest of the squad. You've got Cahill. You've got Jones. Two players who played at the highest level of English football. They are used to the pressure of the various games going forward. Maguire, from that game, did not look like he was suited to playing.
I was at half time. I said to you, right? I said. We need to take off Maguire and bring on Cahill to stabilise this.
He got the assist for the winning goal.
I know he did, but that's not.
You can't criticise the guy when he's grew into the game.
No, I don't have a problem with. There's a legitimate question about when and if he should be going into attacking positions, right? But I don't have a problem with what he did when we were on the ball, particularly. My problem is he just seems a bit of a defensive liability. That was the sense you got throughout the first half.
What shots did they have from his mistakes?
Well, they didn't, but with one of the pass you're talking about, and there was another time as well when the only reason they didn't was one of them fell over. Like there was one that we were very lucky that they didn't have almost a one-on-one with the keeper because of a mistake he made. So it wasn't terrible, but it was a bit.
I mean,
it was uncomfortable.
I think.
Don't you think?
I think Walker was more of a liability today with the way that he handled the penalty. I mean, I know that it's suspected of him what his intentions were and that thing, but he's facing the goal where he should be at like a diagonal position, facing away from the goal where he should just be able to head the ball. So, I mean, he's getting himself into mistakes that are actually costing his goals. I think it's very difficult just to pinpoint Maguire just because we have got nothing to slag off basically.
Very quickly on Sterling, Dugan's already talked about him, but what's your take on Sterling? Obviously, he got taken off eventually, but what do you think he was just lacking a bit of sharpness? Would you start him against Panama?
I think I'm quite ambivalent about him. I mean, he's had probably the best season of his career. He scored 20 plus goals for Manchester City. It is true that he does take 3 chances to get 1 goal, and his goal scoring record for England is something like 2 goals in 40 games, which for a forward player is
pretty bad.
It's pretty abysmal. But then again, I think Ali's only scored 2 goals for England. So again, we don't really have a goal scoring threat in terms of like a good goals to game ratio other than Kane. I mean, even Rashford's only got 3 goals in 20 caps. I believe like a lot of them are from the bench. So I'd give him another go. Yeah,
I think I would start him. Would you?
I don't think you have anything to lose to starting against Panama.
Yeah.
I think you give. If England have a good first half against Panama, you probably play Sterling for the first half, Rashford for the second, and that is them competing for their shirt against that starting lineup against Belgium.
All right. Lastly, on this segment, let's talk about the left side. Now, we disagreed about this before the game. You were saying that Ashley Young should play. I said that Danny Rose should play. I thought Young was poor at times.
How was he poor?
Again, the same thing, losing the ball. He's not very good at set pieces either. We don't seem to have a very good.
I think that's the general. I don't think we have a set piece player.
Yeah.
Like Trippier was taking some of them.
Yeah.
You had Young taking the free kicks from slightly too close for Rashford. I would say when Rashford was on. But it does concern me that Young is the one who's taking those free kicks.
I think there's like a stigma attached to like fullbacks taking like corners and that sort of thing. I think Trippier is an excellent like deliverer of the ball. I mean, we scored from the corner. The second goal. I think he's always effective in getting into the area.
I thought Trippier had a good game.
It's very rare that his ball gets like cleared from the first man and that sort of thing. So I'm very happy for him to do that. Young, I think it's a problem that he doesn't cut back. You can see that he's tried to take first time crosses on his left foot today, but
that was a big problem as well.
Young's standard thing throughout the years he's been playing, when he's been playing towards the left back, has been to go down, cut back onto his right and drive it in.
Yeah.
Now, I can only think that the reason why he's not doing that every time is that he's consciously been told, don't do it.
Well, also, you can't every time because sometimes you've got to take it on the first
But he's good enough to do it, though. You look at him in the Premier League. He can cut back on his right foot 9 times out of 10. He can cut back. No, 9 times out of 10, Young can cut back onto his right foot, fool the defender, and put it in.
It's not a case of like the quality of his delivery. It's more a case of, I mean, it's a lot more difficult for a defender to defend when it's coming in first time. Whereas if he cuts back, they have a chance to pick up Kane, and Kane. It's more difficult for the striker.
So there were a couple of those poor crosses. You're right from Young from the left hand side in the second half. They just didn't get it done. Okay, so whistle went ages ago, but let's just to finish here in a word. Who would you switch in and out?
Sterling out and Maguire out.
And then in?
Rashford and Jones.
Okay, yeah, I would take out Maguire, I would take out Young, I would put in Cahill, and I would put in Rose.
I would rather send Phil Jones back to England than put him in the squad. Do you know what? I'd be tempted to play Fabian Delph
instead of
Ashley Young. I think at Ellen Road he was probably.
To put Delph on the left.
Yes, I'll play him on the left. Right. He was good enough for Guardiola. He's good enough for Armchair Fancast.
All right, interesting times. Well, let us know what you think about the personnel changes that England need to make against Panama in our second match. There is one more thing we need to talk about from the England game, and that is the, quite frankly, at times, shocking refereeing performance that happened. And we can talk about VAR as well and how that plays into that. There were points in the match, Tom, where it felt like we were getting pretty royally shafted by the officiating. Were we just being biased because we were wearing our England shirts? Like what? It was pretty bad, the refereeing at times.
I'm not sure if it's a case of whether the referee's not picking up. I think maybe the problem more is whether the head in HQ in Moscow, where they're not like communicating like you should have another look at something that's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly like, the rules about how the system works, but we saw earlier in the game with Sweden how they had a blatant penalty against South Korea. The referee just blew it away, and then within seconds it went back up the other end and they had the penalty awarded. I mean, today, Harry Kane has essentially been rugby tackled.
Twice.
On 2 occasions where some people are more passionate about this than me. But, but it's a shambles. It's got to be a level playing field across the thing.
I think in the referee's partial defence, I think they, with some of the small fouls, and clearly we've said this already, but Tunisia came for a ruck, right? They came to try and get it into us, to try and elbow us, to try and get under our skin. That was a very clear and obvious tactic of theirs, right? And the referee on a lot of the smaller things did blow the whistle quite a lot. I would have liked to see a couple more yellow cards actually, but there was at least he was blowing the whistle, right? It's the big decisions, the one like the rugby tackle on Harry Kane for the penalty, or what should have been a penalty, and it happened again at the start of the second half, and then a couple of other decisions as well. And as you say, VAR is I think more to blame in some ways than the actual referee there, right? Because a couple of things. So first of all, apparently Colina, who's the head of the referees, has told the officials that if they're unsure, they should err on the side of letting the play continue and not taking it as a foul, because the guys in the booth are going to review it. And the other thing to say is that the VAR is supposed to be constant. So the idea is that the VAR officials are constantly watching and can constantly tell the officials if they need to. So how on earth they missed that rugby tackle, as we called it, on Harry Kane is ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, perhaps they were pulling their socks upon their full kit in Moscow.
I know, wearing their full kit. Duke, I know you feel pretty strongly about this. What is, in general, VAR I think has been a success so far in this tournament.
Yeah.
But this game, my God, how do they miss those?
I think there's several things. I think the biggest thing to highlight is what you were saying there at the start, is that the referees are erring on the side of not giving the foul, even if they see it. We're not clued into that communication process. When you watch it in other sports, so you watch it in NFL, you watch it in rugby, all of those sports, you can hear exactly what the referees are saying to each other the whole time. So you can hear that communication process. You can hear when the TMO in rugby says check, check, to the referee on the field, saying that, okay, you need to stop play at some point, and you need to check what has just happened. That does not happen. We don't hear that at the moment. So we have absolutely zero idea if at any point in that game that the referee, the video referees sitting there in the television studio in Moscow said to the referee on the field, you should check this. And it could be that they said to check it, and the ref on the field said, no, I'm happy with my decision, let's move forward. Because the way it's set up at the moment is that the ultimate decision goes to the referee on the field. And that is a problem, because it empowers the referee to, when they say check, to say no. I don't need to check this because I'm confident I've got it right. So
if the guys in the... Let me get this right. So if the guys in the booth say you should check this, the referee isn't obliged to even check it.
No, because the ultimate authority is the referee on the pitch.
Right.
Even when they've showed them the footage, even if they think that you should overturn...
But you're saying...
But even if they think the referee should overturn the decision based upon what they show them, even if the referee goes to the booth on the halfway line, the referee can still stand there and say, no, I think my decision was correct.
Sorry, but what I'm asking you is, are you saying the referee doesn't even have to go to the booth to look?
No.
Because why would you not? If you're the people who are there to assist you are telling you to do that.
Because no one else tells you. Because there's no problem. There's no enforcement of it.
No.
If they tell you to check something, it doesn't matter because you don't have to do it.
Let's talk about how VAR has gone in the rest of the tournament so far, because there's been some crucial decisions about it. As I say, before tonight, I was actually planning on doing a segment on VAR on today's show and actually praising it, because I think there's been several times where it has righted some wrongs that otherwise would have left
that Sweden game
unchanged.
today gave that penalty that was such a blatant penalty. It fixed the clear and obvious error.
And the Griezmann one for France was the right decision.
The Griezmann was slightly more debatable. Well, it was probably the right decision in the end, but wasn't as clear cut as the other ones we talked about. But the biggest problem, what VAR was brought in to fix, were those tussles in the box that led to someone being able to grapple a player to the ground. Were those clear and obvious fouls that were, especially when we talk about European football, where for years throughout the 2000s, those fouls were able to happen throughout the entire period. VAR was brought in to fix those problems, and it's a clear failing tonight. It's a clear failing of, you can still have those penalty box tussles, and the VAR is not going to do anything. It's not going to give that penalty. It's not going to take those things away. Whether that's a failing today of the specific team that are there and the refereeing team that they had, Whether that's that or whether it's a more endemic problem, we don't know because it's not clear.
All right, well, let us know what you think of VAR. Tell us if you think that VAR has been a success so far at this tournament. Do you agree that clearly something went wrong with it tonight in the England game, and what needs changing if you think it does? All right, we should probably talk about something that isn't England, so let's talk about some of the other big stories that have been going on in the World Cup in the past few days. And most notably, actually, there are some of the big teams in the tournament so far who haven't really got out of the starting blocks yet. We're not one of them, because we won. But Germany losing to Mexico, Brazil only got a draw, Argentina only got a draw. From what you guys have watched so far, Tom, we'll start with you. Which teams fans should be most worried out of these big teams? Is it Germany because they lost? Argentina because Messi didn't look like anything like on form? Who should be worried?
I think if you lose any opening game, you're going to be immediately concerned. I mean, saying that, Spain lost their first game in 2010 to Switzerland 1-0 and then ended up winning the whole competition. So it is still very early doors, but I mean, it's a massive uphill battle from there, even for the likes of Germany. I think in terms of performance-wise, Argentina didn't look very convincing whatsoever. I mean, Spain as well, we had a draw. So I think it's one World Cup where there's no clear favourite. Even France in victory didn't look like they were convincing against
Australia.
Yeah. Sorry, minnow team. But yeah, I think again the encouraging thing for England today. I don't want to be one of those people that say like England's going to win the World Cup and all that sort of stuff, even though they are. But it's anyone's tournament, I think.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. Germany's obviously the most serious case because they actually lost rather than
that was
drew.
Great. Oh, that was so good.
First of all, how cool was it to see how much it meant to the Mexico players? Chicharito had like tears streaming down his face at the end.
Well, you as a Mexican player, as a Mexican team, or any team in that group, you go into it thinking, oh, I've got the world champions coming in. The amount of hype beforehand. The German press were saying they have 3 full squads who could win the World Cup of players. Which, to be fair, they have such strength in depth. It's unbelievable. But we were so happy.
Yeah.
It was one of the best moments of the World Cup so far. Seeing that German team lose. And going in Monday morning back into my office on the wall chart behind us and just putting 1-0 to Mexico on the wall was such a good feeling moment.
And somewhere Leroy Sané is smiling, I'm sure.
I mean, what a ridiculous mission.
It's also nice to see like the smaller teams actually having a real go at the bigger teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Mexico,
let's let Mexico aren't a small team.
No, in terms of World Cup performance, they generally get to the second round quarterfinals at most.
The great thing about Mexico doing well, I felt the same about Colombia 4 years ago as well. They're a proper footballing country. They're football mad in Mexico, and what that result will have meant to that country.
Well, Mexico City, they had a low-level earthquake.
Yeah.
Because of this, like the atmosphere from fans when they won that game. Like,
we were just saying as well before we came on air actually that when the World Cup goes partly to Mexico in 2026, that's going to be a hell of a party, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
incredible stuff.
Armchair Fancast streaming live from Cancun.
We might go on the beach.
Maybe Rafa Marquez will still be captain in Mexico. Yeah. 5 World Cups in a row. We can make it 7.
Madness.
What was wrong with Germany then? So was there? Do you think should they be really worried, or is it just a case of they just had an off day?
They look flat. They look devoid of ideas. They look like the England team of the first of previous World Cups where they weren't able to get things going. There was no linkages between that midfield and that forward line, and they weren't able to penetrate and get through and try and break that Mexican defence. And they set up very well. Their Mexican team knew exactly what they needed to do to break down that German team, to be able to score on the counter, and then to stop Germany from scoring. And if that's something that we've seen this in the Premier League as well. We've seen this across European leagues. Teams are setting up and are much better now in the recent tactical era of being able to set up and stop a team from scoring and be able to nick one on the counter and then stop any play coming forward at them. And if that's something we see at the World Cup, if the story of this World Cup going forward from the group stages is lower teams, like minnow teams, be able to shut down the attacks of big favourite nations, then that is a tactical genius masterclass going forward.
I think we also can't underestimate the players that Germany have lost in the last 4 years. I mean, although they were getting on quite a bit, the likes of Klose, Schweinsteiger and Lahm are effectively their spine, and they've replaced them with Werner, whose goal-scoring record for Germany and in the Bundesliga is very good, but on the international stage it's very difficult to transfer that onto. So I think they may be missing players like that, and it's sort of the likes of Kroos and Khedira to really step up and drag that German team.
Brazil, Argentina, what do you reckon? Either of them should be worried?
Messi took the blame of that entire game on his shoulders, but I thought it was ridiculous.
What a storyline, by the way. Ronaldo scores a penalty, hits a free kick, Messi misses both. I
think that's more a chip on Ronaldo's shoulder, to be honest. That he's always comparing himself to Messi. Yes. I think Messi doesn't care.
Yeah.
But he knows he's that good. But it was very interesting seeing afterwards that people say, Hernan Crespo said that Messi is not as good as Maradona in the sense that Maradona could carry that Argentina team through, and Messi cannot do the same.
And you get the impression that Ronaldo can, like the way that you could see Cristiano Ronaldo literally taking that game like by the scruff of his neck,
and forcing it through that team was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think Brazil, it was just difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just they're not playing very, and this was true in the qualifying, even though they played very well in the South American qualifying. They're not playing very Brazilian. The style that Tite's got them playing is actually kind of a little bit negative for Brazil.
I think, I mean, obviously I don't watch that much South American club football, but he was formerly like Corinthians manager, and he often plays with like two holding midfielders and that sort of thing. So I think we're seeing a new Brazil, and they still have a lot of flair going forward. And they have the likes of Coutinho, they have Firmino coming off the bench, so they still have elements of that. But I think it's more. I think they don't want another repeat of 4 years ago where they got humbled by Germany because they were trying to play this expansive game with. Although they had Fred up front 4 years ago.
Lastly, very quickly, because we've overrun as we tend to do, but Belgium. So Belgium was the other team I wanted to talk about. Even though they won 3-0, 3-0 doesn't really tell the story of the game because they were actually pretty unconvincing. Watching that, and this was before we played obviously, but I thought, oh, there's actually less to worry about with this Belgium team than I was initially thinking. A little bit.
I don't know. I think you can still see De Bruyne turning it on. His assist for Lukaku's first goal was still absolutely class. I don't think we really have players like De Bruyne like being able to hit those balls from like central midfield and that sort of thing. So I'm still worried about.
Yeah, and I think also that it's the thing with that Belgian team is that you have certain players you can turn it on for 5 minutes out of the 90. And that can completely change the game and score them 2 goals. Lukaku turned it on for like 10-15 minute period, or interspersed with those things, and scored 2 goals.
We're going to smash
it. De Bruyne managed to turn it on and managed to put that through. So whereas with England, you don't get the same feeling that if Kane turns it on for 10 minutes, he scores 2 goals. Yeah. You get this, with Lukaku, he can drag that Belgian team, as can other players. They can drag that team through that period and score those goals and make the crucial difference that unfortunately that England team can't.
Dugan, what we've got to stop at Dugan, what I was expecting you to say, or hoping you to say, was no, we're going to smash them 5-0. If you can just say that, then I'll be happy.
I beat them on FIFA 5-0, so we'll leave that.
There we are. Well, we'll find out. There's an intriguing situation in several groups going on. Let us know who you think is not going to make it out of their group, out of these big dogs in the World Cup, so to speak, and we'll discuss that more, I'm sure, over the next week or two. Well, that's going to do it for today's Goalmail Scramble. Thank you, gentlemen, for your opinions, as always. Fascinating stuff and an exciting time to be an England fan. You don't say that very often nowadays,
no, you
but
don't.
we certainly are saying it right now. Don't go anywhere. We are going to continue with the Armchair Fancast after this. It is everyone's favourite part of the show. It is time for our quiz. Mr. Dugan, did you win last time or lose?
I lost.
You lost on the tie-break.
I did lose on the tie-break. I got close. I pulled myself up, felt myself back with the oligarch knowledge, you know.
It is a chance for redemption then here. And who knows what kind of rounds are going to be thrown at you today. Tom, for you, this is a first time on the YouTube quiz. You've done some quizzes with us on our podcast throughout the past year with mixed results.
That's a bit harsh.
Well, go on then. What's made you so good? I don't think you've been that great, have you?
Well, we've not been in competition yet, but I've recently come off a stint on 15-1, and I'm feeling confident.
Right, yeah. That show has not been on the television for over a decade, so we can tell you are lying. All right, now, first round today, as always, is going to be the 1-2, where we bounce. I ask you a question, we bounce between the two of you until one of you gives me an incorrect answer. Whoever gets the question right by the other person saying something wrong gets 3 points. We're going to have 3 of these questions. You guys ready?
Let's get going, Dave.
Right, here we go. Okay, so our first question today is about CONCACAF. CONCACAF, of course, the North and Central America qualifying region of FIFA. There are 35 FIFA nations in CONCACAF. I bring it up because, of course, the next team we're playing is one of them in the group stages. That's a clue. With that in mind, can you name me any nation from CONCACAF? Dugan, you can go first.
Panama.
Correct.
El Salvador.
El Salvador. Yes. I couldn't see it for a minute.
Oh, God.
The US of A.
That is correct.
Canada.
Canada is there.
Mexico.
Mexico is there.
Honduras.
Honduras is there, yeah.
Venezuela.
Venezuela. No,
South America.
because Venezuela is in South America.
Oh, shit.
So 3
35
points.
nations of
I
Venezuela.
thought that was going to go on for about 18 more rounds.
It's in the wrong continent. You're in the wrong continent. That's why.
Who else is part of the 35?
Well, I'm not going to list all of them.
The
but
Caribbean
Let me
nations.
see the card.
There you go. I'm not lying.
Oh, geez.
Trinidad.
Venezuela is in South America.
Nicaragua, Honduras.
South America has its
Belize,
own.
Costa Rica, Dominican. Oh, there's
Yeah.
so many.
There's lots you could have had.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm feeling
But
confident,
you didn't.
Dave.
So there we are. All right, so 3 points to Tom. He's taking the lead on his debut. All right.
Basically, it's a list of tax havens.
Yes, well, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Second round, second question today. Can you give me any word used in the John Barnes rap from the 1990 England hit World in Motion? Tom, you're going first.
Any word?
Any word used in the rap segment that was sung by John Barnes? Sung,
Got.
Spoken. Got is yes, correct.
At.
At, yes, that's there.
Two.
Two, yeah.
World.
No.
What? It doesn't even mention the word. Oh,
You've got
you've
to
got-
hold
Go on,
him,
go on,
but
see
do
if you
it
can get
at
it.
the right time.
Yeah.
You can't be slow or fast, but you must get to the line. They'll always hit you and hurt you. Defend and attack. There's only one way to get them, and it's around the back. So catch me if you can, 'cause I'm the England man. And what you're looking at is the master plan. Three
bit
lions on my chest.
Oh, you missed a bit.
Oh,
It was going so
I mean,
well.
I don't know any of
We
this
ain't
shit.
no hooligans. This ain't a football song. Three lions on my chest. I know we can't go wrong. But that's impressive. Very
That's
impressive stuff. And it gets you another 3 points. So 6-0.
Before my time, Dave.
To-
If you asked me to recite the part of "We're on the Ball,"
It's before
I
my
would-
time.
I
Everyone
would
knows the
nail
John
it.
Barnes
Neville
rap.
to
No.
Campbell,
Goodness.
Campbell to
I've been
Rio.
doing this in the pub.
Scalzi,
It's awful,
Scalzi,
isn't it?
Gerrard.
I don't know what this is. When was this from?
2002.
Well, I was around in 2002.
Yeah, at and deck.
Clearly, I have better music taste than you and wasn't paying attention to that. All right, last question in the 1-2 today. Can you name any player from Real Madrid or Barcelona who is at this World Cup? Dugan, your turn to go first.
Messi,
Messi, yes.
Navas.
Navas, yes.
Ronaldo,
Ronaldo, yes.
Nacho.
Nacho, yes.
Isco,
Isco, yes.
Busquets.
Busquets, yes.
Ramos,
Ramos, yes.
Marcelo.
Yep.
Varane,
Yep.
Modric.
Yep.
Piqué,
PK, yep.
Cruz.
Cruz, yes.
yes, he is. I'm struggling now. Suarez.
Yep.
Ter Stegen.
Oh, he is. He's the second keeper for Germany.
Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah, there is. Yep, got him. Mm-hmm.
You don't sound too confident.
It's hard to find. It's a big list. There's 29 players on this list.
It's 29 players, and I'm
And
struggling.
for some reason, I didn't write them in alphabetical order because that would have made far too much sense.
Far too easy.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. Or Jordi Alba.
Yes.
Rakitic.
Yes, Rakitic is in there. This is a strong round for both of
Strong
you.
round.
Yeah.
I'm on the back foot. I'm now looking at these players' faces to see if it's going to give me any inspiration. Pepe. No, fuck. Pepe's not in Madrid anymore, is he?
No, he is not. And that means,
I've lost.
unfortunately, for you, Alex Dugan, it's 9-0 to Tom at the end of the 1-2 round. That's a
This
clean
is where I
sweep.
was before, so I still have the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, well, exactly. If you watched our last quiz, then Dugan was 9-0 down after round 1. He was 9-all by the end of the second round. So
If it's a whitewash, does he have to run around the building with his pants down or something?
he does now.
we can think of a suitable forfeit.
We've just added that. Okay, now, but cautionary tale because he has come back before. Second round is a guest round. We have a different round every time. Our guest round today is called Guess That Anthem. And so I'm going to give you some lyrics from one of the 32 national anthems translated into English, which makes them
perfect.
even more hilarious. And I'll give you 5 or 6 lines from an anthem. You are going to tell me...
Are you going to try and sing it in the tune as well, but in English?
No.
Oh, that's poor.
Can you sing it in the native dialect?
Because I'm so good at all those accents that would immediately give the answer away, obviously. So you're going to have 3 of these each, okay? 3 points each one you get right, so you have a chance to get 9 points. All right, Tom, you're in the lead, so you're going first. Here we are, your first anthem. From the solar systems, we will tie you a crown. Your armies, a timely collection. One day is 1,000 years to you, and 1,000 years a day, and no more. An eternal flower, small flower, with a tear in its eye, that praises its God, and then dies.
So they spoke about a solar system.
Yep, so it's probably a country that's in the solar system.
So they must have a space program.
Yep.
South Korea.
No, the answer was Iceland.
Oh, Northern Lights.
Yeah?
Not Diamond Lights with Glenn Hoddle.
Should have guessed it, but you didn't, and that gives Alex Dugan an opening here. You ready for your first one?
Yep.
Here we go. Tyrants, tremble. Tyrants, tremble. Tyrants, tremble. Ah! This is literally the lyrics. Liberty in combat we will cry out, and even dying, freedom we shall also shout. Scotland aren't in it, so it's not Braveheart.
I'm thinking... It's Argentina or Uruguay? Uruguay.
Uruguay?
Yeah.
That is bollocks.
Correct. How did you... Why? Wait,
Tyrant makes me think of
We're bringing
Suarez.
back the camera and seeing if he was peeping over your shoulder.
We might have an action replay. Sorry, explain to me the logic of...
Tyrant makes me think of Luis Suarez. Suarez is a twat.
That is
twat, tyrant, Uruguay.
This is dodgy, isn't it?
Just looking over your shoulder and you caught him.
Right.
3 points. I'm on 3.
3 points. I'm going to be more careful from now on.
What? Just go like that every time?
Well, I will now. I didn't think he'd seen it. All right, your second one.
Tyrant in Uruguay.
Tyrant. It must be Uruguay.
Because they're known for their dictatorship.
All right, Tom, refocus.
Okay.
Sometimes a refereeing decision doesn't go your way. You've got to refocus and get back in the game. That's what England did, and that's why they beat Tunisia.
Isn't Dan in Cannes in the VAR studio?
Probably. Yeah, that's probably why it all went wrong. Okay, here we go. Your second anthem. O Lord our God, arise, scatter her enemies, and make them fall. Confound their politics, frustrate their knavish tricks. On thee our hopes we fix.
England.
That is the second verse of the English national anthem. It's a trick question, really. But yes, that's the second verse of God Save the Queen.
No.
It is. So there we are. 3 points for Tom.
You can't expect
That
Ray Rooney to remember the second verse.
Yeah, we never sing it. But
Can you be a bit like more... Even,
Sorry. But that gives you a 12-3 lead, so you can stop complaining because you've got a pretty solid lead here. Dugan, without looking...
I haven't been looking.
Here is your second one.
Uruguay. That is utter horseshit.
May your reign continue for 8,000 generations until the pebbles grow into boulders lush with moss.
Saudi
Arabia?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Ah.
It was Japan.
Japan?
It is from the Japanese
They sing about moss.
national anthem. All right.
I'm not rating these Google Translates, you know.
Your last one, Tom. You ready?
Yeah, go.
Dude, you're barely on camera here. Do you want to shuffle forward a bit so people can see you?
Too embarrassed.
Too
Chris
embarrassed at your cheating performance. Last anthem for you, Tom. You ready?
You're showing him the answers again.
I'm not.
I was looking. I was focusing. Get myself
paranoid.
Yeah. As a nation we inherited... Shut up. As a nation we inherited arms like granite towers, holding aloft our proud flag flying. We boast of it, it boasts of us. Arms that achieve ambitions and glory. Someone's reading to their biceps, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, that was it.
That's it. That's all you're getting. Who looks particularly ripped?
Ripped?
Well, that's what I'm guessing, because they're obviously obsessed with having big arms.
I reckon it's a Balkan country.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same.
I'm going Serbia.
Serbia.
Yeah.
You're close in the sense that it ends in A. Tunisia.
Oh, yeah, we should recognise it from the signal.
They did have big arms.
Yeah.
They did have big arms.
They used them to rugby tackle fucking Harry Kane.
All right. Well, that gives you an opening here, dude.
Not really.
Because you need, I mean, if you get this, you'll at least be within 6 points going into the quickfire round, which you absolutely need. All right, you ready? Everyone strum your choras. Strum your what? Strike the balafons. The red lion has roared. The tamer of the savannah has leapt forward, dispelling the darkness. Sunlight on our terrors. Sunlight on our hope.
See, red lion was making me think Belgium, but I'm going to go for Egypt.
Egypt. You are right in terms of your continent.
Oh.
Senegal.
Oh,
Senegal. Okay. So unfortunately, Dugan,
Boo.
You stay behind, which means that it is a 12-3 game.
So it's impossible to win.
No, you can get 9. If he gets none, you might be doing all right. So a 9-point lead. We're going to go into the quickfire round. This is the round we always have at the end of the quiz. You're going to have 60 seconds each. I'm going to get as many questions in as I can, and every one you get right, you get 1 point. All right, Tom, you ready? You're going to go first because you're in the lead. 60 seconds on the clock. I will start the clock as soon as I finish my first question. All right, here we go. Who was born first, Franz Beckenbauer or Johann Cruyff?
Beckenbauer.
Beckenbauer, that's correct. Which was the first World Cup in which Germany played as one nation after East and West reunified?
94.
Yes, 94. Which nationality is Iran's manager?
Portuguese.
Yes, he is. Which team has come third the most number of times in the World Cup?
Germany.
Yes, Germany. Who eliminated Belgium in the 2014 World Cup?
No, not the USA. No, don't know. Pass.
Argentina. Which current England player spent 2 years living in Nigeria from the age of 9?
Pass.
Dele Alli. Which of these Group C nations' kits is not made by Nike? France, Denmark or Australia?
Denmark.
Denmark, yes. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is the president of which African World Cup nation? Egypt
Senegal.
or Tunisia? Egypt or Tunisia?
Tunisia.
No, it's Egypt. How many countries are competing in the World Cup for the first time this year?
40.
No.
2. Which Premier League stadium
First
hosted...
time.
Last question. Your time's just gone, but we'll finish this question because I started it. Which Premier League stadium hosted a World Cup semi-final in 1966?
Goodison Park.
Yes, it was Goodison Park.
Wow.
How many was that?
6.
6. So that gives you a final score today of 18.
I thought you said how many teams are in the World Cup this year, and I thought that expanded the tournament.
Even then you were wrong, because it's 32.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were new. Do you want to know which 2? I could tell you. It's
Iceland
and Panama.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we are. All right. Dugan. So
uphill task.
It's 18-6. 18-3, excuse me.
I'm not giving any leeway. And even that's questionable.
Yeah. So you need 15 or more to win it, or 15 to level it, 16 to win. 60 seconds on the clock. Time will begin when I finish the first question. Who was born first, Zinedine Zidane or Pep Guardiola?
Zidane.
No, Guardiola. Which was the first World Cup at which Serbia and Montenegro competed under their new name after the breakup of Yugoslavia?
2014.
No, 2006. What nationality is the Panama manager?
Spanish.
No, Colombian. Which country has appeared in the most World Cup tournaments?
Uruguay.
Brazil.
Yeah. Who eliminated the Netherlands in the 2014 World Cup?
Germany.
No, Argentina. Which current England player has 2 Labrador dogs, Brady and Wilson, named after NFL quarterbacks Tom Brady and Russell Wilson?
Kane.
Yes, Harry Kane. Which of these Group A nations' kits is not made by Adidas? Russia, Egypt or Uruguay?
Russia.
No, Uruguay. Mauricio Macri is the president of which South American World Cup nation, Brazil or Argentina?
Brazil.
No, Argentina. How many additional spots in the tournament will be added for the 2026 World Cup?
The 16.
Yes, 16. Which current championship stadium hosted a World Cup quarter-final in 1966?
Championship, Aston Villa.
No, it was Hillsborough, and I'll let you have one more just for a laugh. Who scored more goals for England, Jermaine Defoe or Peter Crouch?
Ooh.
Take my time now. Crouch.
Yes, Peter Crouch. 4.
Got 3.
Spectacular. Which gives you a final score today of 7. It is an 18-7 drubbing. A victory for Tom Crosby on his debut quiz. Congratulations. You going to shake hands?
Thanks very much.
Very sporting of you. Congratulations.
And I would like to see if a retrospective panel gives it an 18
Really?
Yes, I want to look back.
You're going to pursue that, even
That
though
is complete bollocks. They got Uruguay.
That's like when Germany won 7-1 or something, and they go, "Oh, I want to check that offside decision from the 15th minute." I mean, come on, give him a break, poor kid. Just lost. Look at him. He's devastated. He's not really devastated. You know why? Because we beat Tunisia.
Yeah, fucking get in!
Yes, we did. Anyway, that's the quiz today. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be back after this. We are almost out of time on today's Armchair Fancast, but before we go, obviously, there's something we haven't done. She doesn't have the best record so far. She got Spain, Portugal wrong. Thankfully, she got England, Tunisia wrong as well. She's no Paul the Octopus, bless her, but my puppy, Lucy, has been predicting some of the key games from this year's World Cup. Right now, she's going to show you who she thinks is going to win Argentina versus Croatia, a crucial game for Argentina in particular. Let's see what Predict-O-Pup thinks is going to happen. Draw. Lucy. Well, I think Lucy might have been making a political statement there. So, a draw predicted, which would be bad news for Argentina, which would be utterly tragic, of course.
Oh, what a shame.
But more importantly, she showed what she thinks of the nation of Argentina, sadly, by running away with the flag.
I think she just has a strong allegiance to the Falkland Islands.
I think, oh, come on. Maybe she doesn't like the hand of God thing. I mean, who could blame her? It happened, 28 years before she was born, but we all still feel the pain. So anyway, a draw, Argentina-Croatia, which would leave Argentina with just 2 points going into their last game. That'd be exciting, wouldn't it?
That would be great. You'd see more of that old Maradona in the stadium taking some suspicious, off his nose for the entire time.
Wow. We are pushing the line.
I think we can cut to this now. I think we can cut to this. You watch Maradona going like this.
Saying he's got a cold.
He's got a cold.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you meant.
Right. Actually, I did the other day. There's a big sign that says no smoking in the stadium. Then Maradona's there with a massive cigar.
Yeah, well, you're Maradona. You can break the rules, can't you? There you go, Maradona. As we know, he has broken the rules many, many times. You might have noticed, by the way, that halfway through the show today, between segments here, Dugan has filled in the wall chart, which we hadn't had filled in up until now. It's going to be an exciting week. What are we expecting?
It's going to be an exciting week. I think we're expecting some more upsets. If we're seeing what we've had so far of the kind of minnow team setting up to defend, setting up as a robust defensive block, and then countering on the break when they have the chance, I think we're going to see a few more upsets. I think we're going to see some shock draws more often than we are defeats for the big nations.
All right. So, which of these second round games are you looking forward to over the next few days?
Iran, Spain, probably, and Serbia, Switzerland. I think those are going to be 2 games on the edge of my seat.
Serbia and Switzerland, I thought both looked very promising in their opening games.
Yeah. They look pretty solid. I think I'm looking forward to Iceland, seeing how they go forward. Their next games against Nigeria. And that should be a game where Iceland would hopefully be able to exert themselves. We've seen.
I think Iceland will do them 3-0.
Yeah, but we look back for the Euro 2016. We look what they played in the qualification period. They were a team that were able to absorb a lot of things and then go forward and push their own attack, getting the goals and things. But we haven't seen them at a game where they've really been able to set themselves concrete from the start as that team that controls the game. And against the Nigeria side, who weren't looking that great in their first game, it's going to be interesting to see an Iceland side where they are the favourites in the game, where they're going in with the expectation that they win convincingly.
All right, what else are you up to? What's up in the rest of your week, Tom? What you got coming up? Just preparing for Sunday.
Probably just relaxing until Sunday.
England, Panama.
It's going to be a big week for Love Island this week, as we know.
Is it?
So yeah, I'll probably
explain to me Love Island. Like, what's the attraction?
The whole concept.
Yeah,
of
explain to me
Love
all of it.
You know what, Dave? I don't watch much crap reality TV. I think that's the only reality TV show that I do watch.
Everyone's allowed one, I think. You're allowed one vice.
What's yours, Dave?
X Factor. So, no, X Factor. What's yours?
What's mine? I watched.
You into Love Island?
No.
Okay.
I've apparently told there's some like game theory stuff which got some of my friends excited, but the rest of that I have no time for. I don't really care.
All right.
I watched the Britain's Got Talent final, and that's about it.
So it's just World Cup. World Cup this week.
World Cup is the reality TV that I need.
Yeah, and what reality it's been. We've just been filming segments now. I keep chuckling to myself.
In between, it's like
we won. We won a World Cup game for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Slovenia.
A joy to be. Yeah,
it
even that was
Slovakia?
rubbish.
Terrible.
We haven't had a good World Cup win since 2006. I suppose. Even that, the Ecuador win wasn't that great. Who else did we play?
We beat Trinidad and Tobago.
We haven't had a satisfying win. Like, in the sense, we've come away from this thinking we probably stole that.
2002 versus Denmark.
Yeah, we beat Denmark 3-0,
16.
didn't we? Yeah.
16 years!
This is probably the best we've felt about England in 16 years, certainly since Euro 2004. Like, oh, what a time to be alive. Anyway, Alex Dugan, thank you very much for being here, as always. And Tom Crosby.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Quiz victory there.
First of many, I hope.
Well, we'll see. I've been Dave Bradshaw. Thank you for watching or listening as well. However you've been engaging with us, please continue to do so. Our podcast, by the way, is on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes, Stitcher and TuneIn. We're also, of course, you can see our videos on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you want to use any of those platforms, we'd love to hear from you. Our Twitter is active as well. We're on @Armchair Fancast. So follow us on there. And you can get all the latest reactions from all of us, including Dugan, as he continues to document my reactions to England games throughout the World Cup. So that's just about it. We'll be back later in the week with another episode. In the meantime, once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Armchair Fancast.